good evening, everyone. Today we are after a couple of week gap, where we are here with another webinar topic, where we want to discuss about. Today will be a little different topic rather than having to solve a problem or anything like that. Today we want to put out a case study in front of you, where depending on the type of organization that you are, the when I say type of organization, the size of organization, the process that you guys do, what could be the best product out of the three, at least for the manufacturing operations. We have three ERP giants. One is SAP, one is Zoho, and one is Odoo. We'll look into it from only from the manufacturing perspective, which could be suitable more depending on the type of operations that we do. So let's jump onto it. And also, by the end of this webinar, we'll also look into one of our own case study, that is our own customer, who is nothing but BBC Coffee Limited, which is from UK. How we transform them from a manual processes to the Odoo, with the Odoo ERP processes. So we'll look into why and how Odoo becomes a very key important ERP tool. So let's start on with it. So basically, you are, when you are from a manufacturing background, that is basically you have your own entity producing some goods, that is manufacturing some goods. End of the day, to your customer whom your products are sold, it doesn't matter which ERP you guys are using. It only matters with respect to quality and on-time deliveries. These two things are the most important parts, because two important aspects. So the end customer is never worried about what internal ERP you use, what internal product that you use. But end of the day, if the product is not reached on time, which is not worth the value, that is when the concerns are. So and most of the manufacturing organizations usually do not run with a single ERP system. It will be a mix of legacy ERP, some Excels for sure for reporting or one or the other purposes, and definitely some very good knowledge by an internal team members. So this will become a combination for any working manufacturing aspect. So with this, what we want to tell is the right ERP tool for any particular manufacturing organization can make or break the situations. What it can make, it can help you guys put out faster decisions. You can, you will be putting up into less firefighting. That is, instead of having it as a continuous process, you will be putting up like, okay, this issue came up, we'll fix it. Another issue came up, we'll fix that. So that is going to be usually one of the problems with a faulty ERP, or I wouldn't say instead of calling it as a faulty ERP, if it is not a match between the ERP, that is, the features of the ERP, the functionalities of it, and our organization, that is when the mismatch starts. And also basically we'll be losing on them. You will be having better margins. That these are all the positives. On the other hand, an ERP can also, drop down your, make sure you derail into these aspects. One is you will be looking into workarounds, you will be having hidden costs, and also there will be very slow changes. So these could turn it into either a make or break point. So a couple of things for the making points which we saw, a couple of things for the breaking points that we saw. Let's continue ahead and see where we come from. So we as Pragmatic, where we have had some 17 years of experience in this ERP and into Odoo specifically. So we are mostly into Odoo focused, as we say, and we are mostly into, our implementations concentrates more on manufacturing entities. And we do end-to-end consulting, end-to-end implementations, end-to-end customizations as well. We have built completely new products altogether from scratch, and we also provide support. And as I said earlier, also, we have this years of experience, decades of experience from the process manufacturing, discrete assemblies, and also different types of industries. Like, for example, multi-plant, multi-warehouse structures, multi-layered bills of materials approach, and all these things. And today's goal, we, with our experience, with the market tools available, we want to give you an honest opinion on if your industry is this could be a suitable ERP tool for you, especially with keeping in mind the manufacturing and supply chain aspect, mostly into manufacturing. So, and finally, we also want to show how Odoo as a tool helped one of our customers, that is BBC Coffee, from where they were facing problems and where they are running on a almost seamless process, which with very less dependency on manual tools or any other aspects. And most importantly, we want to invite you to go deeper only if it makes sense. That is, if you feel that yes, this is my organization and this is what my problems are, and I'm looking at somewhere this could be the solution. We want to we want you to explore more with us so that we can give you more info on what tool or how Odoo can benefit you. So let's start off. So the first thing is what you will be walking away with today is basically, as I said, we want to give you, we want to show which ERP bucket you are in. That is a simple, very simplistic way of comparing three tools. We have taken only three tools for today's webinar. One is Odoo, the other one is Zoho, the other one is SAP, exclusively with respect to manufacturing aspects. And we clearly want to give you which platform will fit best for your organization depending on the nature of business. Not because of, okay, this particular tool is the best or something like that, because each one of these tools are best of its own. I mean, all of them are in ERP. All of them cater to different types of requirements in a different way. And most importantly, as I said again, we want to show you a real story of our client, where how it impacted them, how Odoo impacted them. And finally, we want to quickly take up a very less friction this thing, where if you are interested, you can explore the possibilities of mapping your organization problems with pragmatic. So let's start off. Basically, as I said, ERP failure is rarely about features. I mean, it's all about how, first of all, to when as an organization, what right questions do we ask and what right products do we map. So those are all the things that we need to first do, match between our process and also the right ERP tool in the market. So basically, we want to have these three minimum questions, that is the basic questions in place. One is, how complex is our production, is something that we need to evaluate. And most importantly, what is my scalability plan? How fast am I planning to grow or diversify? And most importantly, how is my team flexible? How much flexible is my team to adopt? Like, for example, right now I'm in Excel. Am I open for planning automated? Am I open for automated, I mean, make to order process? Yes, my business is make to order in machines and everything. I don't manufacture or procure until unless I get a sales order. But is that doable in my system also? Right now I'm maintaining everything in Excel, so this might be a big question for you. So that flexibility, will my users adopt, will be another immediate point. That is basically the turning point to choose an ERP product. And most importantly, today, as I said, our focus will be exclusively on manufacturing aspect, not with respect to supply chain, not with respect to accounting or any pre-sales or anything as such. So with this manufacturing aspect, we look into how planning basically will be taken up either in Odoo or in Zoho or in this thing, that is SAP, along with how is your planning, that is as an organization, how well you are structured. And most manufacturing planning, again, that is the production planning. And most importantly, how does execution on the shop floor happens. And finally, are there other modules related, that is other processes related, like how dependent is your process on quality, how dependent is your process on maintenance, how dependent your process is on traceability of products, like traceability of bomb versions, traceability of products, and all these, like batches, lot numbers, expiry, and all these things. So based on all these aspects, we'll explore how each of these ERP products available in the market suits you, and also for your organization, and also will demonstrate how BBC Coffee made their progress with Odoo. So if your ERP lives in office and not on the shop floor, that is basically it's just like we speak about bigger ERP terms. We have an actual ERP in place, but end of the day, my people are doing it in Excel. If that is the case, then this ERP webinar is for you guys. So basically, if your ERP is used, you do have an ERP tool already existing in your organization. It was meant to be for manufacturing and supply chain, but currently we are not using it. If it is used for finance and billing, if your production planning is still happening on WhatsApp and Excel, and if your quality maintenance and everything is recorded on paper and someone else's notebook, then this webinar will be a very good eye opener for you guys. And because of all these manual and siloed process, you will be definitely for having some symptoms. That is, you would have seen these symptoms in your organization, where overproduction of wrong items will be happening. Sometimes the planning will go haphazard. We might have been doing underproduction or overproduction. Stockouts, we do not know the visibility of products or items, how much are available, how much are already in pipeline, how much have we promised, what dates we have promised to the customers, and all these things. And basically, definitely with all these distributed systems, there is no single point of truth, or there is no single version of truth. If something goes wrong, there will be no accountability, no traceability, and all these things will be everything will be misplaced or dispersed throughout various team members, but not in a single system. So let's look into our comparison today with respect to SAP, Zoho, and Odoo. We will look into each platform across these aspects. One is with respect to manufacturing depth, as I mentioned earlier, that is MRPs, MES, that is manufacturing execution systems, and then PLM, product lifecycle management. How well is the quality, maintenance, shop floor, and all these things? How well they are already available in these tools, how well they are able to scale and everything. And then we look into the flexibility and control. Because no ERP tool in the world, I usually keep saying this, no ERP tool in the world is tailor made for any industry or tailor made for any particular company. I wouldn't say industry, but any particular individual company, because company wise, each one of them have their own requirements, their own customizations, their own way of reporting, their own way of working methods. So how flexible is my ERP tool? How well I can keep a control of with respect to people or with respect to process? How well my ERP tool is flexible with this? And finally, even with respect to economics and risk, that is how much time it will take, how much money it will cost, and all these things will also be putting out. And most importantly, risk of outgrowing the system, that is how well I'm able to scale it, how well the money I invested, time invested, effort I invested will put up as an ROI with respect to less manual work, better reporting, better control. Do I get this out in next 3 years, in next 5 years? Is something that we need to question. So this is what we are going to analyze in this next half an hour with our webinar. So basically, let me start with SAP. SAP is from Germany and one of the very best ERP tool available in the world. It is one of the oldest ERP tool also available since decades, and they have covered literally every industry. That is oil and gas, manufacturing of different types of products and everything, process industries, trading industries, and all these aspects. That is batch manufacturing, make to order, make to stock, everything they have covered. It is literally like a jumbo jet. But the big question is, do you really guys want a jumbo jet? That is a question that has to be answered. That is, we have to map between what is available in the ERP tool to what I can fit into my this thing in my process. So basically, as I said, SAP is a global enterprise ERP standard. In fact, any other, usually, especially with respect to manufacturing and supply chain, people will look into SAP and they put out new processes, or they make sure they align according to these processes which are defined already by SAP, because that is such a disciplined system, that very well structured system. It is very strong in multi-company and multi-plant scenarios. That is, if you are a global this thing where you have plants, multiple this thing manufacturing plants across the globe with very clear defined process, a large manpower looking into all these aspects, then SAP would be a very apt product. And most importantly, as I said, very in-depth in finance, controlling, and compliance, then SAP would be a very good product. And with the cloud platform of S4 HANA, that is SAP's cloud platform, production planning and detailed scheduling can be taken place. Manufacturing maintenance, that is plant maintenance and quality management, are already integrated. Integration with MES, that is especially with respect to machines or SCADA systems or PLCs, can already be there, and automation of the systems is possible with SAP. Where SAP makes perfect sense, as I said, again, if you are running dozens of plans, SAP should be on your shortlist. It is the go-to product with couple of things. As I said, a large enterprise, these things where global automotive, pharma like Volkswagen or Volvo or Mercedes, all these things, for examples I'm mentioning, will run on SAP. Will be using SAP. Thousands of users across the globe, and basically shared service centers. Their places are all over. Their service centers or their warehouses are spread across the globe with one single this thing under one roof, that is under one company this thing. And most importantly, with heavy auditory and regulatory requirements. For this, as I said, SAP's breadth and governance tools pays off. Definitely the cost and complexity, but at the same time, complexities are expected and it has to be budgeted. That is, the team has to follow how SAP defines the system. That is, most importantly, the customizations are quite rigid, quite not feasible. At as easy as possible in other tools, because all the things are already available. The team which incorporates SAP has to uh, align itself towards the rules and the regulations set by SAP. That is, as a tool, as the ERP platform works, deviations are usually less. Now, as I said, for now we spoke mostly about when what fits for SAP. That is, I mean, what type of organization fits for SAP. Now, the biggest question: can SAP fit for a very small organization, like probably, for example, 10 million rupees? This thing, for example, income of this thing, turnover company, a very small company with 50 people, a very small company with probably 100 to 200 people. Is this the right product for the small and mid-sized business and for the mid market? Yes, it is a very brilliant system, but it is like a very good example over here. Something like you're using a CNC machine to cut a simple piece of paper. So, as I said, it's a beautiful jumbo jet, but you want to travel just for 50 meters. Is it required? Or just you want to go for a grocery store? Do you guys prefer a jumbo jet? So that's the question where, yes, all of these are possible. Too much of complexities, too much of compliances, everything is available. But is this the right fit for me? Is the question that we need to ask. So for many SMB, that is small and mid-scale businesses, licensing and implementation can be heavy, because I wouldn't put out the costing and everything over here. But if you go and research about the license costing and also the implementation costing, it is huge. And also project and the implementation time can itself run anytime between 1 to 2 years. So that is the massive level of data, that is a massive level of structuring that requires discipline, that requires to implement SAP. And most importantly, you need to have a very, very strong internal IT team, even though you depend on the partners or the product itself, the SAP team itself. And most importantly, if you are a small and very small and mid-sized organization, and if you choose SAP as your tool, you might end up with using a fraction of the power that you paid for. That is, yes, we spent 2 years of time, we implemented SAP, but not all of the process my team is able to use, because sometimes it feels too much of data entry, sometimes it feels too much complex for us. It's not that simple that my organization itself is simple than the ERP tool. So, and most importantly, this will eventually drill down to a point where you will be struggling to justify the investment and the ROI that comes out. So, in this place, it's not a judgment that we are putting, but again, as I said, we are putting out a question in front of you. That is, are you at the scale and complexity where SAP type of investment makes sense today? Again, as I said, is your process that complex? Is your business that huge and that complex? Is the question that needs to be asked, especially when you go with SAP. Now, the other one, let's look at Zoho, where it's a very friendly cloud suite that grew up around CRM. That's one of the key aspects, where it is very strong at sales, marketing, service, basic inventory, and finance. Very clean, very simple cloud experience. It's a cloud platform. SAP also is available at as cloud platform. And what Zoho One gives for you. So basically, it gives all the, many apps with respect to many functionalities under one subscription. Low IT overhead. You don't have to have your own IT people. Don't need to have IT team and everything like that. It's a immediate start, like a quick start for small teams. Like very, very small teams will be able to pick up with Zoho very easily with less of a hurdle. But then with respect to manufacturing, there are a couple of things: what it can do and what it cannot do. Zoho is very good for selling. That is for this thing, especially for sales related industries where we are very light on running the shop floor. That is, yours is a very simple manufacturing entity, which is like just buy things or probably repack it or something like that and then sell it off. It's a very as I said, the manufacturing, if the manufacturing processes are least complex or less complex, Zoho would be one of the very good tools. Reason being, what Zoho has done is they have taken inventory module itself and they have built additional tools with respect to manufacturing. So as I said, very composite items for light assembly or kitting would be the ideal fit for Zoho. What is missing is something where no full native ERP MRP engine, that is material resource planning engine, where you need to have, for example, if you are a multi warehouse setup in one of the countries, you have warehouses across multiple states within the country, and based on the planning, you will, based on the demand, you plan it in which warehouse do I take up the manufacturing. That if that kind of a things needs to happen based on my material availability, based on my resource availability, I need to plan and also calculate the logistics. If I put it out with this warehouse, what could be my logistical cost? If I put out in this warehouse, what could be my final cost of production and selling? Which warehouse can give me the better margins and all these things? Zoho will lack it, because the main reason being, it is built around inventory as simple additions, not as a complete MRP engine. That is basically this thing, like a full MRP engine. And most importantly, there are a couple of modules which are quite not available in Zoho, which is nothing but like product lifecycle management, where if you want to have the BOM versions, you want to give rise to a BOM, you want to build a new BOM with all these additional components with your previous references and all these aspects. It also lacks with respect to, we have something called a shop floor in Odoo, like where just an operator wants to see how the manufacturing works, what all work orders he needs to do, work orders in the sense process, everyday operations he needs to do, which products he need to pick, where he needs to pick from. All these aspects are missing here and there. And most importantly, an integrated maintenance module is lacking with respect to manufacturing, because as I said, the moment we say manufacturing, it has at least these 4 to 5 components together. One is the shop floor, definitely yes, required. Another one is quality, because my manufacturing involves quality. Another one involves maintenance, where my tools and other things require maintenance. And most importantly, the inventory movement, the planning, most importantly. What should I produce? When should I produce? When should I pick it from stores? Which location should I pick it from stores? Once the production is done, where should it go, automatically or manual, and all these aspects? Should the child bombs be created automatically or manually? So all these, when that child bombs and other thing comes up, even PLM comes into picture. That is a product lifecycle management. So these are a couple of modules which are very intact, integrated into manufacturing, which are missing in Zoho. So that is one of the key aspects. So usually what happens with manufacturing entities taking up Zoho, one is their manufacturing process is very, very simple and very, very light. And most importantly, they build custom Zoho apps, that is using inventory, they build on their own. So, or they use external tools to track production. That's the final this thing. So when Zoho is a good option for you guys, if your factory, again, time and again, I'm saying this, if your factory is very, very simple and sales driven, where for now Zoho can be enough. It will be a very good fit if it's a light in-house assembly kind of a production. You are just a trader and plus a little manufacturing, but not a huge in-depth manufacturing aspect. And most importantly, you want a very good CRM system and a very light manufacturing system with minimum IT effort. That would be a very good option for you. But then the honest this thing is, as soon as you start scaling up with respect to deeper manufacturing process, somewhere you will feel that yes, I would have needed a proper planning engine within the things. I don't have additional aspects with respect to quality or maintenance or PLM, or with respect to other aspects like shop floor and other things, where I have supervisors, planners looking into different screens. My operators, like the basic operators who does day-to-day operations on the shop floor, given a different screen within the same model, both of them looking at the same data in 2 different views. That is something not possible. And that is where you will feel like, okay, this might have been my need and I'll have to change. So you will feel that there are more manufacturing focused brain required probably with your ERP. So that is what Zoho is. Now here is Odoo finally, where we are going to put out, where that is a manufacturing brain which can still speak for both the ends. That is not as huge as SAP, not as complex captured features in like SAP, and also not left out with respect to, okay, we don't even have features like quality and PLM. This is somewhere in between the two, where you have 30 plus integrated apps, as I said, quality, PLM, shop floor, barcodes, even all the, I mean, inventory and all these things comes up. Even logistics are integrated with Odoo in that case. And what it can offer, as I said, in one system, it will put out manufacturing, PLM, quality, maintenance, inventory, and supply chain, even including pre-sales, accounting, HR, payroll, and everything. So it's like everything under one roof, to a pretty good extent for a small and mid-sized organization, to what extent they need for the whole operations. So from planning to shop floor in Odoo, one system takes you from sales order to finished goods without Excel or without manual planning in between. As I said, if yours is a make to order process where the simple sales order with a BOM already defined has to trigger a manufacturing orders, child manufacturing orders with inventory planning, that is the movement of goods from shop floor to stores or stores to shop floor and everything, yes, it can be configured, not customized. To that level, Odoo is sufficient, already available as standard. The planning can be even done based on like reordering rules, which we call, that is the minimum stock and maximum stock. It can also be triggered manually. It can also be put out in multi-layers, that is multi-layered bombs are available. Multi-warehouse setup is possible, where you can plan your demand. I mean, you can generate your demand in one warehouse, you can plan in, I mean, you can produce in another warehouse, supply back to it, and then push the sales and all these aspects. So all these possible things are, all these scenarios are possible. Even if you are a multi-company structure, one company having to put out a sales order to another company where that will take up the demand and produce it and send it back, those things are all possible in standard Odoo as features. So with respect to planning, Odoo has master production schedules, MRP proposals for purchase and production, which I already explained, capacity scheduling on work centers, what is the capacity of each work center or an operator, when are they on, when are they present, when are they on leave, based on all these things, how your planning can work. All these things are already there. Coming to execution, we have very clear, as I explained earlier, multi-location, multi-step routes and operations. You can have as many operations as possible, as many SKUs as possible. Depending on these operations, you can define SFGs and as many SFGs and bills of materials accordingly. One sales order can even trigger up to 300 to 400 manufacturing orders under each other. That is multi-layered bomb. And most importantly, as I said, you can have Odoo in a kiosk, set up in a kiosk in your shop floor, or even on a tablet, or even on phones. Even barcode scanners, that is the handheld scanners, can have Odoo because it's a web-based platform. It also can be hosted in-house. And most importantly, as I said, mentioned earlier, also the tracking with respect to barcodes, QR codes, scanning of lots, batches are all part of internal process already. That is default Odoo already. And most importantly, it is a very, very dynamic system and a very real-time system where it gives all the these things, that is prompts or with respect to the reports and everything on a dynamic basis. That is, as and when the transactions are done, it takes up all the information and starts generating reports and keep putting up things in the right places. So that's what Odoo is. We'll look into it in detail. And most importantly, as I said earlier, also I mentioned the quality, maintenance, and traceability are already inside Odoo, where you can have different quality control points for different operations. That is, pre-dispatch quality is one, in-process quality is another one, receipt quality is another one. That is, during the receipt, during the production, during the dispatch, we can have different types of quality operations that can be triggered. Different quality teams can work on different types of parameters. Maintenance can be taken up, preventive maintenance, corrective maintenance can be scheduled. Breakdown maintenances can happen where we stop the production, then we say this is the number of time we took to repair the product. We can then do all these things. Even repair module is part of Odoo, where you can internally repair, or you can even collect materials from outside and you can repair and sell it. So all these things are there. And definitely, yes, if your industry is something which has inventory tracking with respect to individual product wise or batch wise or this thing lot wise, that is all possible with Odoo, even with expiry management also. That is, if yours is a food industry and other industries where expiry management, pharmaceuticals and food industry, where the expiry management is a very critical aspect, even that is part of standard Odoo already. So where Odoo typically fits in this ERP landscape is, most importantly, as I said, which is small and mid-sized organizations, which has pretty good all these things, all these teams of quality, maintenance, repair, and even inventory and production team. Where compared to SAP, less heavy to buy, implement, and run, but still have all these features to a limited extent, at least to, if not to as detailed as possible as SAP, but to a larger extent compared to this thing, other ERP tools. You have pretty much all the features which you want to run up organization successfully. And most importantly, as compared to Zoho, which is very, very stronger. Odoo is very, very stronger with respect to planning and manufacturing suite, because the very manufacturing itself is a separate entity. Separate module over here, separate app over here with all the features. And most importantly, as I said, you have more features over here to play around and customize as well. So the sweet spot is basically, if you are a single or multi-plant manufacturers, if you are a SMB, that is small or mid-size, this thing where shop floor control is required for you, and also you are not a large group with, thousands of workforce, but with a small hundreds of workforce, you can definitely use it with your own agile system, using Odoo as your own agile system. So with this, we also want to tell that is, you by now you would have known that Odoo comes up with a new versions every year, and this year in 2025 we are with Odoo version 19, which is launched 1.5 months ago. One and a half month ago, roughly. So with this Odoo 19, we have some very new features with respect to, especially exclusively for manufacturing, with something which this year is the AI agents and AI powered data entry and automations, where it can clearly show AI can clearly bring up the things where which shows the delayed work orders today and for what caused these delays and all these aspects, and get you good insights and reports. And most importantly, there are many places where you can automate the calculations using AI. You can predict what's going to happen based on the outputs of the machines, based on the throughput of the machines, and all these aspects. And also, you have a better upgraded traceability and serial lot control with basically downstream and upstream visibility and all these aspects. And then you have smarter packaging and UOM hierarchy. You have improved shop floor panels and all these things. You will get to see it, all these aspects on hands when you start exploring Odoo in the platforms. And also, definitely, there is upgradation with respect to the emissions, waste, and packaging compliances, which is required for the modern audit needs. So here we are with looking at Odoo and everything. Like we compared all these aspects. We told what Odoo can do. Now we are going to introduce one of our own client, which we have implemented Odoo for, is something called as BBC Coffee. This stands for Beans, Brews, and Capsules. It's from UK, where uh, millions of capsules are produced per day through the coffee beans under one ERP right now. So it's a UK-based premium specialty coffee manufacturer. What they do is basically their SKUs mostly are whole beans, ground coffee, aluminum capsules that are put out into the coffee machines, and also the cold brew concentrates, which is used for all the different beverages. And their scale is basically, imagine they manufacture up to 1.5 million capsules per day. And most importantly, anything anywhere between 1 to 1.5 tons of coffee is roasted per day, per hour. So that is almost like 25 to 30 tons of coffee per day, the metric tons of coffee per day roasted over there. Like which batch came in, how much was the temperatures and all these things, how much was the moisture loss that is captured, every batch that runs, what is the new batch number for it once it was an input and now it is an output with reduced quantity and all these things. I mean, with upgraded quantity, with less moisture and all these aspects. So each and everything is traced now within Odoo. And mostly, as I said, the strong focus for our implementation also was with respect to quality, sustainability, flexible production on multiple brands. So that was our main focus. Now, I'm going to present you a couple of aspects where they were before we interacted with them. That is, what was the situation of BBC Coffee, where they were with respect to legacy ERP tools, and where are they right now with Odoo and other things. Like it was basically most like a modern factory running on legacy tools, is like a sports car with worn tires. The engine is amazing. The car has such beautiful capacity and this thing features, but the tires are wrong, so that it cannot prove that it's a very amazing car or very powerful car. So basically, legacy ERP with some functions will be like very use of, heavy use of paperwork was going on, and most importantly, with they were fragmented. That is, it was a distributed system with respect to production tracking was in one place, the manufacturing processes were happening in another place, the quality maintenance, everything was distributed. There was no one ERP tool that was connecting. And most importantly, their specific pain points were there was no clean tracking from the green beans to roasted on ground to the packaged capsules. That is, which vendor did I procure this specific batch, how much did I put out, from what time they're lying over there in the store, and then how much do I take it for production today, that is roasting today, and how much was my losses, that is the moisture loss or any other losses. Now how much do I have, what is the batch number now I need to put out, now how much of this is then consumed for capsules and everything, and how much is my sales. That is basically one traceability from sale to procurement, including the manufacturing and inventory system, was missing before implementation of Odoo. And also, a couple of things I mentioned, the moisture loss and quality checkpoints were completely manual earlier. And most importantly, they were not able to see the real time stock. And what they needed was basically the single system to manage their entire process, especially for manufacturing and inventory management. And that's when Odoo came into place. So what we did basically was we mapped every step the coffee takes into Odoo. So what we did was basically an end-to-end ERP implementation where we implemented supply chain and manufacturing, including accounting and all the pre-sales activities. So right now what they are doing, basically their operations are integrated into Odoo, the roasting, that is tracking the input green beans, which bag number, and all these aspects, what are the parameters that has to happen, because over for them as a coffee this thing bean manufacturer, they don't actually produce something new. They have a coffee bean already which is raw and dried to a certain level, which they will roast in a separate process. Over here, the same component will stay as it is, but the nature of it will change. There are different physical parameters that it's going to change. That is, moisture level will be changed, which cannot be physically felt probably. So all these things are difficult to capture and put out inside the system. And basically, the weight of the initial unroasted beans to weight of the roasted beans will have a different, will definitely change. So how do we capture the losses of moisture? Because it's dried, the air and all, the moisture and all would have lost, and the what was the input to what was the output is a drastic change. And most importantly, how do we trace it? Which particular bag came into it, where is it being stored, which exact location, which silo, and what is the age of it, and what is the moisture of it? All these things need to be tracked, and that is what we have done in the roasting process. And then comes, how do we grind it? Different grinding processes. Which batch did I take? Which batch did I grind? And what is my present output? Again, the physical parameters of these, the coffee powder now. And most importantly, if it is capsuled, what are these capsules, the inner weights and the outer weights? What is the this thing, like testing, the different quality tests that will be done with different set of batches, and all these aspects are put out in capsuling. And finally, these coffee beans or the capsules will be packaged in different boxes or bags, which also have to be traced up until the vendor. That is, yes, this was capsules, made as capsules, this was grounded, this was roasted. Even the till the procurement with one batch number, one common this thing, or different batch numbers, what consumed, what produced, what consumed, what produced, the input and output wise. So when I get a sold batch number, that is basically when I have a capsule in front of me of BBC coffee, we can now trace it up until to the vendor, from which vendor did BBC basically purchase this particular raw material from. So to that level of traceability we have achieved within Odoo now. So as I said, what was before were multiple systems and spreadsheets, paper-based production records, and very limited visibility with respect to any reports. That it could be production reports or inventory reports. People used to, the situation was in such a way that the reports were used to be manually created on a regular basis. But now everything on Odoo, it is dynamic. Nobody needs to ask for any report, but instead report gets extracted out of Odoo as and when you want. And most importantly, now where they are in one integrated Odoo system on pragmatic hosting. We also provide hosting services where that is where they are hosted, their database also. And now because of Odoo, they have their real-time stock visibility, real-time production visibility, and integrated system with respect to manufacturing, quality, and everything, maintenance, and everything is possible. What are the soft outcomes? That is, these are all direct impact. What is that other indirect outputs from this? Outcomes of this particular implementation is basically very less manual paperwork. Most importantly, less preparation with respect to manual reports or anything as such. Fast, as I said, investigations with respect to if there is something, a problem or a deviation in any of the manufacturing process, they can instantly look into it. They can trace the this thing if there is a complaint with the sales and other aspects. And most importantly, now people trust the data because it's already integrated and it is well structured in a ERP tool. Now, why are we telling the story and why this should matter to you is basically, if we can do this for a coffee, this can also be implemented for auto parts or for paint or for any other wooden manufacturing or plastic product manufacturing. So the patterns are similar across food and beverage, chemical and paint, auto components, and engineered products. And also the common needs, like which is similar to BBC's, nothing but multi-stage routes and recipes, quality at each and every stage, and most importantly, the clean traceability that any manufacturing industry wants for. So all this can be achieved in Odoo. That's the reason we came up with this story where we tell you what we have already done, show you a real-time scenario which we have already done, and then present what could be the best. So you don't need to have an over-engineered system or a very huge system for you, but you can also trigger based on, as I said, you need the right ERP tool with the right partner. That is what makes more sense. So given the comparison, we have now seen the manufacturing requirements. We also have explained SAP, Zoho, and Odoo now with different these things. So I wouldn't get into the in detail of it because I've already explained over here. But I would suggest if it's a very large organization, SAP is the ideal fit. There is no doubt. For more sale oriented and very, very light manufactured systems, Zoho would be the ideal fit. But if it's an integrated system with scalability in picture in the next couple of years, and also integrated system with light cost and investment and other things, Odoo would be the best fit. That would be my inference. So which one you should lean toward, that would be the good question. So as I said, if you, as I mentioned earlier also, if we can do this for a coffee, definitely we can do this for any other product also, or any other batches or recipes as well. So three simplified scenarios what we would provide. If you are a large group and many plants with many heavy compliance, this thing, SAP would be the ideal one. If you are a sales focused one, Zoho is the one. And finally, if you are a manufacturer with real time complexity, shop floor and everything, I think Odoo would be the best fit. Now, as I said again, we are not saying that any ERP is less or any ERP is more. We are only comparing between what is the organization's requirement and what is available in the market. So ideally, it is not, ERP will not fail. Any ERP in the market will not fail because of a huge investment or a logo or and on the login screen. Actually, it fails between the understanding of what is actually required to my organization and what is available in the ERP tool. So any of these systems can work with the right implementation team. At the same time, it can fail because with a wrong approach. That is, my organization way of working is different, but I chose a different ERP tool. What a good and also what a good partner should do, basically. We don't want to sell any ERP tool over here. Rather, what we want to do is to start from your process and constraints, understand your process in detail. Not like we do have feature list of a particular product. This will fit for you. This has to be done customization. More than that, we have to be like a strategic partner to your business, making sure your business is in the right place with the right tool, so that your manual efforts are less, your traceabilities are more, the report these things are dynamic, and all these things are set with audit compliance or other compliances. And most importantly, we have to focus more thing on to how to avoid customizations. That's the most important part, where which ERP tool can give you the maximum fit in standard features itself, so that we don't avoid forcing bad fits and other things. And finally, we'll have to put out a partner in such a way that we have to search a partner in such a way that they train your team extensively, so that they become self-sustained within very less period of time. And that's where pragmatic comes into picture, where we are here in the industry of consulting and customizations and implementing since 17 years, more than 17 years. And we have put out with, these are all a couple of one of our case studies, but we are mainly working with trading and manufacturing entities throughout our experience. And we have a mindset of solving problems rather than selling ERP tools. That is where we come from. So as a suggestion, please do not buy software first. Instead, map the reality first. That is, sit with the team, sit with the implementer, sit with the partner, or sit with the company itself. That is, either it could be Odoo or SAP or Zoho. Put out your main operational pain points and then try to map it, which of the ERP tools fit maximum in the standard features itself. And then comes your investment, what is the time it's required, what is the cost required, and everything. And most importantly, you can then see as I said, a live demo and the process flow, so that you don't look into the product overall features like a generic demo, but a tailored fit demo for you, like a POC for you. And then decide, okay, this tool might fit at least 80% for me, at least 90%, or at least 70%, and that's the maximum which I have evaluated. So that is where I decide that yes, this is a good fit with respect to cost, with respect to standard features available to my this thing, understanding of my processes and stuff like that. So what concluding this, what we would put it out is, you give us 1 hour, basically, we being the implementers, where we shall have a discussion understanding your problem, where we will get to know what type of a manufacturing industry or what type of complexity that you have, and we will listen to all your process and goals, your pain points and other aspects, and we will see how Odoo can fit in as much as possible, whether it is possible or not, how well Odoo can fit into as a particular ERP tool for you. And then if it fits and everything, we can take it up to the further discussions. That's the overall this thing for this webinar. So as I said, again, recapping once again, SAP is a very amazing tool and a very large tool. In fact, that's how we take inspirations from SAP to build new process and new tools as also, but it's for very, very large and complex groups. Zoho, on the other hand, is very, very good tool for a organization which is more sales oriented and a very, very light manufacturing team oriented or a process oriented. But with Odoo, it is mostly into if you are an integrated organization where all the operations are there, and you want an integrated system with more scalability, more customer, I mean, more flexibility, I would suggest customized workflows, then Odoo would be the ideal fit for you. So I would open up this platform to for you to let us know any challenges at your workplace so that we can give you the real time scenarios. Thank you.